lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
After an amazing pit strategy call that saw Kyle McCartney come home to victory lane at Homestead, Miami last week, we now move to the Nashville Superspeedway and round number 14 of season 46 of the Western States Racing League. Joey Trapasso and Dave Regal up in the booth with you tonight as we're getting ready to bring you all the action. 120 laps of scheduled distance here tonight, Dave, and this is going to be a good one. I always love me some Nashville.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm usually used to watching a race over at the Nashville Fairgrounds, but here we are tonight at the, in name only, Nashville Superspeedway. And right now atop the pile is Bentley Glazer, who laid down a 29.94 second lap in his qualifying effort. Of course, Glazer sits atop the point standings right now with Jeff Schmeyer following behind him. There is quite a gap there, Tony. 57 points between Schmeyer and McCartney. The tightest battle in the season standings right now is between Brian Barnes and Kyle McCartney, as Brian Barnes only trails McCartney for third place by just 6 points, and Bob Beltrami also running in fifth right now in those season standings, trailing Brian Barnes by just 8 points. So things definitely heating up here in the lower half of the point standings for the season, but Bentley Glazer, as he usually does in these races, has a commanding lead.
That he does, and that's why he's the three-time defending champion of this series. But if you look a little bit further down in that point standings, it's real tight between Carl Burke and Dennis Fusan. There's only 1 point separating 7th and 8th place in points right now.
I do see that, and I'll tell you what. I mean, as far as watching some of these leagues, here on iRacing.com and especially on ESPN and Sim Racing Media, that's probably one of the only ones that's not a tie that's any closer. But here we are with Nashville Super Speedway. We'll take a look here at your current conditions on the racetrack, Tony. As it appears, stand by, folks. As it appears right now, outdoor air temperature 77 degrees, but that track temperature 80 degrees. So, as we always say, sometimes I feel a little bit like a broken record. Track temperature going to be a factor in this piece tonight, as it almost always seems to be. But Tony, what do you think with 80 degrees in the asphalt here? How that's going to make these cars handle? And actually, it's not even asphalt; it's concrete.
Well, it's going to get cooler as that sun continues to set. And I would like to say once again that Verizon Fios, I hate you.
Come to Comcast. Come to
Heart
Comcast.
no.
Comcast is the way to go. No? Okay.
We don't have Comcast up here.
That's a shame. That's a shame. You have everything else you could ever want in Syracuse, but you don't have Comcast. You have garbage plates, but you don't have Comcast.
My two choices are Fios or Spectrum.
Ooh.
And I would rather cut both my legs off than give Spectrum a dime.
That's fair. That is fair. I can go along with it.
But if you're watching in the live chat, go ahead and let us know who your least favorite internet provider is.
Absolutely. And if you are tuned in on YouTube.com, I am Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso here with the Esports Broadcasting Network here. And right now you're getting ready to settle in for the Western States Racing League Round 14 at Nashville Superspeedway. Turn on those bell notifications and subscribe to us here at ESPN, as we're always glad to have you along. Not too many people watching so far tonight, Tony, but Kyle Mccartney says yeehaw from Nashville.
Absolutely. Kyle always checking in with us. And another group that usually checks in with us are our good friends over at Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking. And Dave, you and I were talking about this before we went on the air. I think we both found our new favorite dish that they've ever created.
Oh my God, absolutely. And let me just tell you that the over on Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking, let me just restart because I got all kinds of excited right there. Folks, the Western States Racing League is proudly presented to you by Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking. You can check them out over on YouTube after tonight's race, of course, but and you can check them out at youtube.com/user/outdoor cast iron cook. This week, Tony, the featured recipe is bacon wrapped roasted turkey.
You have my attention, sir.
So listen, our buddy Dean the Fog Crawler and Joni the Teardrop Nanny are going to walk through each of the detailed steps it takes to create this. It's a mouth-watering, delicious dish. I can't give it enough positive adjectives. So everybody, hop on over there.
It's a 12-pound turkey, and it takes 3 pounds of bacon to do it right.
I mean, if you're going to do it right, you're going to do it with a lot of bacon.
Absolutely. So, yeah, head on over, take a look at that recipe. And Dave, you started drooling when you saw the thumbnail, didn't you?
I did. So listen, I don't know if you get a chance to go on there right now, just open up another tab. Don't close us, but open up another tab. Check it out. The bacon is in a lattice pattern over top of this 12-pound bird. And
you cover the front, you cover the top and the bottom of the bird with bacon, and then you stuff a 3rd pound of bacon into the cavity.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to say that it's probably keto-friendly because there's no carbs in it. That is all protein, all of it, every bit.
Yes, it is.
So, and
it's the candy of birds and the candy of pork.
Can you imagine the nap you're going to take after you finish that?
I can feel the tryptophan coma coming in already.
My God. I mean, get yourself a roll of paper towels. You're going to need them when you wake up. But I mean, woof. You take that tryptophan nap and you might not wake up until Thanksgiving. And here we are in mid-April.
I wonder if I could talk the parental unit into doing that for Easter.
I can't see why not. I really can't. I think you should. You know what? Just do it. It's called an executive decision.
Well, it's either that or I'm going to talk her into seeing if we can do bacon-wrapped ham. As redundant as that sounds, I would still love to see it.
I'm all over it. I am.
Mm-hmm. You can keep your turduckens and all that other happy stuff.
You know, I have yet to try turducken.
It's greasy.
I mean, you're not scaring me. There's really not much that's going to scare me in the way of food. Well, looks like we have qualifying all kinds of wrapped up here as we get these drivers gridded up on the field. We'll get you that starting lineup here in just a moment, folks.
$32 trucks scheduled to roll off here tonight.
Absolutely, and there's that beautiful starting lineup with Bentley Glazer sitting atop the pile in the number 87 Gatorade Chevrolet, followed by Bob Beltrami in that Beltrami Salami, number 14 Toyota Tundra. Dennis Fusan on the inside of row 2 with Andre E. Savala on the outside. Row 3 is Javier Perez Torres with Kyle McCartney on the outside. Row 4, Jeff Hollingsworth and Brian Barnes. Row 5, Rob Gall and William Fletcher round out your top 10, Tony.
Wayne Hutchinson and Ron Holyfield making his return to the league, going to roll off in row number 6. Richard McClure and Cameron Ingram starting in row 7. Row 8 is going to give us Charles Woods and David Weaver. Julian Ricci and Paul Crumry rolling off in row number 9. Row 10 sees Barry Phil and Fred Williams, Carl Burke and Wayne Fleet in row 11. Row 12 is going to see Dustin Burns on the inside, the last one to actually lay time in qualifying. He's going to be joined with Keith Kellman in the 07. That is row 12.
Row 13 is Daryl Scott and Eric Woods, followed by Angelo Espo and Scott Kukas in row 14. James Campbell and Vernon Markheim in row 15, with Chris Walker and Russ Kilgore rounding out the field for these 32 trucks, as everybody getting themselves all settled in here as the grid is lined up here on pit road.
I'm actually showing Markheim, Walker, and Kilgore
Have not taken the field
in the session.
Well,
120 laps of scheduled distance here tonight, though. 4 sets of tires to get it done with. So that shouldn't be too big of an issue here at the 1.3 mile Nashville Superspeedway. Superspeedway in name only.
Yeah, you know,
But
fun story.
I guess they kind of had to figure out a way to differentiate it from the fairgrounds.
Big. I mean, I have to tell you, the first time I ever laid a lap out here, it was for a league race, and I was practicing, you know, just on my own in a test session. And because I saw the word Super Speedway, I just got in the car, started it, and laid the pedal down. Didn't go so well.
I can imagine so. It should have been your first clue when turn 1 was a little bit tighter than it should have been.
It was, we'll call it a learning curve, if you will.
Well, speaking of learning curves, as the pace truck makes that hard left turn onto pit road, the only thing that's left for me to say is it's time to wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, pop some popcorn because it's time to get it on the Music City. Race fans, it's showtime!
And so far, Bentley Glazer has us all the way strung out here with already 0.3 of a second over Dennis Fusan and now the number 19 Tito's Handmade Vodka Chevrolet, as these drivers have gotten themselves pretty well separated so far tonight, Tony. Only a couple of drivers side by side right now.
Hey, who is that into the wall? Looks like Hollingsworth.
And it looks like we're just about 3 wide here coming through the trial, but my goodness, these drivers not willing to give up any spots here early on in the goings. We take a look now at Darrell Scott on the number 62 here, with Scott Kukas in the 242 working his low side here, going down the back stretch, as it looks like Kukas not willing to give up any space.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you kind of can't that aspect of the field. As couple things to note of, Jeff Hollingsworth in a Ford tonight. We normally see him in a Chevy, and this is the first time I've ever seen Hollingsworth not run the United States Coast Guard paint scheme on that truck, because he's got a 20 on the door instead of the normal 97 that we see him in.
And we have all kinds of mayhem here as lap 3 gets the yes.
Something happened with Fred Williams. And spun it right up in front of Eric Woods.
And here we go with Fred Williams in the number 95 here on the low side, that red truck. As he, my goodness, I'll say. In fact, let's switch this. I want to look at this from the chase cam, as we're going to watch the 42 car just completely wipe him out of Barry Phil. Barry just comes down, gets that right rear quarter panel, and sends Fred on a spin fest.
Yeah.
Oof.
And unfortunately, our favorite paint scheme of any truck out there, unfortunately nowhere to go, and just got dealt hot garbage. One fast repair tonight.
So one fast repair tonight. I'm betting that the number 95 of Fred Williams is going to come down and get that going. And Eric Woods probably also, as we do see him. I want to take a look at that paint scheme. Check this out, folks. I mean, just an all-around great paint scheme with that classic wood grain siding. And he's smoking, and I don't see him getting ready to come off, as it looks like he was trying to get it refired here on pit road. But, of course, we do see back here that pace truck inching closer, getting ready to put him a lap down.
I think he's taken the mandatory repairs, as is Jeff Hollingsworth. As Hollingsworth has spent the last minute and a quarter on pit road. So, and Eric Woods has put it on the hauler.
You know, that's a shame. I do like seeing Eric Woods and his paint scheme out there on the track. But
Absolutely.
that will shuffle things a little bit, but not too much, as the pace truck lights should be out now, as we are 1 to go to green. Inside of row 1 is Bentley Glazer with Dennis Fusan. Then row 2, Bob Beltrami and Andre Isavala in 4th. Your top 5 of Kyle McCartney rounded out there with Javier Perez Torres in 6th. 7th position, Wayne Hutchison, Rob Gall in 8th. Cameron Ingram and Ron Holyfield round out your top. Cameron Ingram and Julian Ricci round out your top 10. Julian Ricci, big draw last week in the YouTube live chat.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're watching in the live chat, let us know who you're pulling for, and we'll try to highlight your favorite driver throughout the night.
Speaking of our favorite drivers, one of our favorite drivers, Jeff Schmeyer, giving us a shout out right now in the YouTube live chat. Jeff, of course, sitting second in points tonight. He wishes he could be here and says, "Go Dog Bear."
That would be the team he's on with Bob Beltrami.
Well, reach way up there and get those belts readjusted, as Bentley Glazer getting ready to bring us back. Green flag racing here at Nashville Superspeedway. And once again, Bentley Glazer gets us restarted real strong here with about 0.3 of a second over Dennis Fusan, as these cars getting themselves all strung out, but it's starting to get double file here through the latter half of the field.
Yes, it is. Zavala was giving Mccartney all he could handle on that restart. Mccartney able to wrestle the 4th spot away from Zavala. Rob Gall already up 3, sitting right behind that little grouping there. Biggest mover of the night so far is going to be the 6 of Wayne Fleet, currently sitting in the number 16 spot.
Well, we see the 242 of Scott Kukas working the inside now of Angelo Espo in the 136. You know, it's kind of cool sometimes to look and see these drivers using the 3-numbered system, as that does harken back to a different time in NASCAR history. But this knot of cars here with the 07 of Keith Kalman, with Carl Burke ahead of him, but still Dustin Burns in the 04 on his high side. This is turning into quite the knot of trucks here at Nashville Superspeedway with 9 laps of 120 complete.
Well, we got a slugfest going on for 5th place between Rob Gall and Andre Zavala. Wayne Hutchinson and Cameron Ingram have been side by side for the last 2 laps, right in front of Ron Holyfield's number 11. And no quarter asked for yet, no quarter given.
I mean, at this stage in the race, you're probably better off just feeling out your partners here on the racetrack, as it looks like, yet again, a vast majority of the field going single file right up until we get back here. And we'll take a look here in just a moment. Here with the 15 car of Paul Crumry, that Dr. Pepper Chevrolet right in front of the 16 of David Weaver and that York Peppermint Padding Mobile. They were just side by side and seem to have gotten their problems sorted out for now, as they don't need to go for counseling right now in the race.
Why is it every time I watch this league race, I get hungry?
Everybody's got food. And I mean, you know, I'm not drinking a Dr. Pepper right now. I am having the finest amber liquid from Pottsville, Pennsylvania. But we've got chicken here. I forget whose chicken that is, but there's chicken there. Then we've got York Peppermint Patties, Dr. Pepper,
Gatorade, Beltrami salami.
And, you know, in case Dean the Fog Crawler is out there listening right now, and Dean, I sure hope you are, we're still waiting on that mashup between Cast Iron Pizza and Beltrami salami. Just saying. Asking for a friend.
Yes, and do you ship to New York?
And if you don't ship to New York, can you ship to PA and I will take it to New York?
Fair enough. Kyle McCartney up into the number 2 spot as he's gotten by that Tito's Handmade Vodka, number 19 of Dennis Fusan.
And we're going to take a look here at McCartney getting his way up there into P2 here on the replay screen. As we're going to see McCartney in the 18 getting around Bob Beltrami here. We see him setting himself up on the low side, and Beltrami, you know, when it comes to being a courteous driver, Bob Beltrami more than capable of stepping to the side and letting someone else rip their tires to shreds, as I'm pretty sure we're going to see Beltrami back up there in that number 2 slot very shortly, Tony.
Shouldn't be too much longer, as we are currently getting ready to put lap 14 in the books. Glazer, McCartney, Fusan, Beltrami, Gall, Zavala, Hutchinson, Ingram, Holyfield, and Woods rounding out your top 10 right now. Biggest mover so far is going to be Angelo Espo and Wayne Fleet. Both those drivers are up 7. Espo sitting in 20th. Wayne Fleet currently sitting in the number 15 spot. Who says you can't pass at Nashville?
Much agreed, and I'll tell you what, right now it seems like everybody still trying to take that traditional oval position, you know, that oval stance here and try to pass on the low side, but it seems like as you're looking here, that bottom groove is starting to move its way up the racetrack with only 16 laps in of 120, so that groove moving up pretty well so far.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, that's something that you really have to, you know, be mindful of is the fact that you kind of got to watch where that groove is going.
Oh, absolutely, especially with the way the track temperature was at the beginning of this race. I mean, that's going to get nice and slick as we watch that dark shadow there of rubber baked into the racetrack start to warm up and now cool down.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the track temperature's already dropped a couple of degrees since qualifying, so, and you can see that the shadows are starting to play havoc as those Moscow lights on the infield have lit up. Everybody playing nicely so far, and it's refreshing to see after the last couple of races that you and I both had to broadcast.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I was part of a race on Sunday that had 23 cautions, of course. And that was at Martinsville. So you kind of expect that at a short track. It's nice to be up here in what would be an intermediate track. Don't let the word Superspeedway fool you, folks. This is definitely wow. As Cameron Ingram slides down to slam the door shut on the number 40 United States Postal Service machine of Charles Woods. I'll tell you what, that was definitely playing with fire. But we had 23 cautions in a race Sunday night at Martinsville, which you expect. But here at the intermediate tracks, you can see drivers start to go single file, get themselves organized, and pick each other off one at a time.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it again, it's refreshing to see, you know, and the fact that, you know, these guys have put in the work all week to make sure that they can handle this track. You know, because this is not an easy track to get around. Don't let anything fool you. It may appear like a cookie cutter intermediate. It's far from it, as this is banked differently than any other super speedway out there or any other intermediate track out there. It's banked differently. The radiuses are different. And the fact that it's more concrete than anything else because of those hot Nashville summers that they get in the South, is we've got a couple takers to going down pit road. Looks like Fred Williams, Brian Barnes going pit side.
Brian Barnes looks like he's got that Darlington stripe on the side of his number 4 NASCAR Hall of Fame Toyota Tundra, and he comes in and gets that fast repair. See, folks, it's TV magic right here in front of your very eyes. Ooh. Speaking of TV magic, we know that people are listening to it. Can you imagine people sit down and they listen to us, Tony?
Yeah, my mom's one of them.
Well, you Darlene Ross?
No.
Okay, see, here's the thing. Darlene Ross apparently loves us. She's in the YouTube live chat giving us a shout-out, and Dean the Fog
we
Crawler,
love you too.
We do love you, Darlene. But Dean the Fog Crawler, he's definitely up here taking care of the fat kids. As he said, the Beltrami Salami Pizza's in the works. He just needs some dry weather to film, so it's coming.
See, what you need to do, Dean, is you need to come to Central New York in the Finger Lakes region and cook it here.
I mean, look, we'll even take, like, Tioga County, PA, and we can meet, like, right in the middle. It's fine. We have mountains and cast iron.
Yeah, but we have wineries.
We have beer.
Yes, you have beer. I also have beer here, too.
Ours is better.
I have my choices of beers. Genesee Brewery in Rochester.
Ooh.
Or Saranac in Utica.
I have never partaken of the Genesee. The only thing that I ever knew about Genesee was that when I was a kid at the fire company in the social quarters, we had a light that hung above the middle of the bar where you would pay your tab if you were sitting at a table, and it had a little motor in it and a clock, and it would tell you what time it was, and it was by Genesee.
Well, there's a reason why we call them Jenny Screamers.
10-4.
Genesee Cream Ale.
10-4. Oh, David Weaver and Paul Crumride going at it hammer and tongs right now.
Yes,
battling it out for 15th and 16th. You know what? It's interesting when you see these drivers every week, no matter where we are. Keep in mind, folks, we're in fixed setups. So these drivers obviously equally skilled as they are almost always, near each other on the racetrack, whether they're in the top 10 or if they're in the top 20. These drivers are always working in and around each other. So there's a little bit of a sense of frustration as here we go with Carl Burke working the inside in that outdoor cast iron cooking Chevrolet. Carl Burke working the inside now of David Weaver in the York Peppermint Patty machine. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the beauty of this league is, wow, what happened to Weaver? He was just sparking coming through the tri-oval.
Going to take a look back at it. If I can here. There we go. Ah, crap. Well, I can't get that back moving. I hit the wrong button here on my Stream Deck. But folks, trust us. You're not supposed to touch the wall.
Yeah, no, that's no bueno. As Rob Gall and Dennis Fusan, Rob Gall and Wayne Hutchinson starting to get after it there. Is Hutchinson giving Gall all he can handle right now as Gall is back in a Chevy and back in that Fuji Films paint scheme that we have seen him in the last couple of seasons run with great success. So looking to try to turn his season around.
Absolutely. And I mean, as these drivers are getting themselves settled in, we're only on lap number 30 of 120. So about a quarter of the way through this race next time by. And so far, pretty good racing from stem to stern here in this piece from the Western States Racing League. And folks, we are going to step aside and go side by side as you hear from our good friends, the Jones Racing Setup Shops and, of course, Sim Racing Media.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, they're wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
And here we are at Nashville Superspeedway. Bentley Glazer in the Western States Racing League driving the number 87 Chevrolet still sitting atop the pile now with about 0.4 of a second over Kyle McCartney, as he really has not gained or lost any distance between himself and McCartney. Bob Beltrami running in third in the Beltrami Salami Toyota Tundra. And just as an update, we did find out that the collaboration between the Beltrami Salami Pizza and Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking on its way. Dennis Fusan and the Tito's Handmade Vodka
Dave, I've
Chevrolet.
got even better news for you.
Yes, sir.
This from our good friends over at Cast Iron Cooking. We will gladly head east to cook in person for you, Tony and Dave. The Frog
Say it
Crawler
ain't
will
so.
be retiring sometime in 2023, which will allow us to hit the road and take our cast iron with us. Be still my heart.
I'm not even faking. This isn't even TV fake. This is excitement. I mean, we could do a whole thing. That's a whole thing in itself. So, Dean, listen, when you do that, we're going to record you and put you on our podcast, assuming that by then Mr. James Riles hasn't yanked us off with that big vaudeville hook.
True story. But,
because I'm sure we're dancing right on the edge every week.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, yeah, we got to get you up here for one of the events going on in this area, whether it be, Watkins Glen weekend, Super Dirt Week, Oswego Speedway Classic weekend. We'll get you up here for something, and that'd be cool.
He's definitely getting ready to take care of those of us large chassis guys. This man here is paying attention to every lap every week.
Yes. And that's why we are proud to highlight at least one of the dishes that he has created. He and his lovely wife have created. And again, this week, the meal of the night. Tell them what it is again, Dave. Tell them what the meal of the week is.
Oh my God! Okay, so
I
listen.
love this.
So this is bacon wrapped. This is bacon wrapped roasted turkey. It's a 12-pound bird with 3 pounds of bacon on it, and they do it in a lattice over top of it. It looks like an apple pie, except it's turkey with bacon all over it
And inside it.
and around it.
Yes.
Oh, my arteries crackled just a little bit. And listen, folks, right now we're taking a look at Carl Burke in the number 53 outdoor cast iron cooking Chevrolet. And folks, when it comes to sponsors here on iRacing, sometimes people get a little fake with their sponsorships, but Dean and Joni here at Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking, the real deal, is there with us right now in the YouTube live chat. And you know what? I have to say, I'm thankful for several reasons here to iRacing. They first at Sim Racing Media let me hang out with you, Tony, and now I get to meet some really cool people like Dean the Frog Crawler and Joni the Teardrop Nanny.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very down-to-earth people, very cool people. That they've been supporters of the Esports Broadcasting Network and some of the leagues that we have broadcast over the years. So glad to have them still on board with us. As their guy, Big Daddy Carl Burke, currently sitting in the number 13 spot, up 8 from where he started. So one of the biggest movers so far. He's up 8. Wayne Fleet behind him is up 8. Keith Kellman in the 07 up 9. So pretty decent run out of that Dave Matthews Band 07 tonight.
Absolutely. I'm taking a look right now at the number 40 United States Postal Service machine of Charles Woods, as Charles here working the inside of the lap car of the lap truck of Scott Kukas in that 242 Toyota Tundra, and gets around Kukas, but now being closely dragged along here being pushed along here by Ron Holyfield in the number 11 iRacing.com Chevrolet.
Well, here's the good news and the bad news. Good news. Well, bad news. Ron Holyfield showing some good speed here tonight in his return with the league. That's the bad news for Charles Woods. Good news for Charles Woods, Ron Holyfield's his teammate.
I mean, if you're gonna be hanging around with the tough guy, you might as well make sure that you're friends with him.
True story.
And right now, Dennis Fusan in the number 19 Tito's Handmade Vodka Chevrolet, American-made vodka, that is. Here on lap number 45, running in 4th position, down just 1 slot from where he qualified at. In 3rd, Bob Beltrami in 3rd right now, in the spot previously occupied by Dennis Fusan. And these drivers all working their way around the track tonight. Keith Kelman trying to secure another spot as he is still chasing down Brian Barnes, the last car on the lead lap, Tony.
Who do you have last truck on the lead lap?
I have Brian Barnes as the last car on the lead lap.
No.
Let's try this again.
Barnes is a lap down.
Thank you, iRacing Timing and Scoring.
However, business is starting to pick up at the front of this piece as Kyle McCartney has reeled in Bentley Glazer.
You know, the interesting thing is it seems like every week, by the way, it sounds like Darrell Scott about to come down pit road. The interesting thing every week that I see is Kyle McCartney will come up and flirt with the back bumper of Bentley Glazer in the number 87. And Bentley is just so talented and always has this car dialed in just the way, you know, it's not like he can fix his own setup. It's a fixed setup for everybody. But Bentley Glazer just that talented of a driver to be able to easily navigate around this piece here tonight.
That's why we call him the Iceman. Kid's got ice water in his veins.
I'll tell you what, I mean, right now, watching him go through turns 3 and 4 here at Nashville Superspeedway, that wheel not really wiggling all too much as he gets it down here onto the apron. We're going to ride along with Kyle, or with Bentley, going into turns 1 and 2. Doesn't get all the way down there because you can see that light shade there. Definitely going to be a little slippery as he swings it out here onto the back stretch, Tony.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, when the sun was still setting, you can see the darkness of the track where the rubber is being embedded into the concrete. You can see that line moving further and further up the track each consecutive lap. Now, mind you, on the front straightaway, they're still down by the apron, but through the corners, they're now running that second seam.
And Kyle McCartney, who was just running in second position, just like I thought he would, you know, he was right up there close to the back end of Bentley Glazer, coming down pit road for service here on lap number 50 of 120. So not sure fuel-wise whether or not he can make it all the way on this stop. And Bentley Glazer, your race leader, coming in for pit service as well now on lap number 50.
I would venture a guess with a two-second fall-off after 50 laps as Bob Beltrami takes over the lead. I'm going to say these guys are trying to make it in a two-stop race at this point. So we're probably going to see them back down somewhere around the century mark and then race out the last 20 laps like a short track Saturday night.
You know, that's one of the things that I've always admired about the Western States Racing League is they do, you know, obviously these are not full-length NASCAR races, but they do their best to squeeze every ounce of race out of these Tundras and Silverados and F-150s.
That they do, my friend. That they do.
They squeeze every drop of competition out of these tires and out of those tanks of fuel. Right now, Bob Beltrami here with about 3/4 of a second over Dennis Fusan, working his way around the lap car. I believe that should be Richard McClure in the 84. Richard McClure in the 84. I like it. In that Sunoco Chevrolet, and Beltrami getting himself comfortable, but he's definitely got to be coming down for pit service sometime soon, don't you think?
Safe bet on that one, and I'm just watching right now the battle that's going on between the 31 of Rob Gall and the 7 of Cameron Ingram, and I'll freely admit that curiosity got the better of me, and I went to go take a look at who Ingram's sponsor is tonight, and that is an Italian bistro in Asheville, North Carolina.
So what you're saying is that it's yet another food sponsor.
Yes, I am.
You know, the one food that I don't see out here on the track, and it's something that I find interesting, especially with York peppermint patties being around, is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I think that there should be a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sponsor somewhere in NASCAR.
there used to be.
Also, and I don't know how you feel about this, but as a broadcaster, I know that you're big on, enunciation and saying things properly. It's Reese's. It's not Reese's. H.B. Reese was an actual man, and H.B. Reese, of course, the inventor of the Reese's peanut butter cups. Not Reese's. Thank you. Thank you. I have a
How
pet
do you really
peeve.
feel, Dave?
I have a pet peeve about the Reese's peanut butter cups. And don't even get me started on Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, no. But Kevin Harvick used to actually drive the Reese's car.
Well, I mean, they probably had to stop because there was some loose-lipped broadcaster in a broadcast booth saying Reese's. That's what I'm guessing. I really have a thing for this.
So while Dave has his meltdown, take a quick recap of what's going on track right now. Bob Beltrami leads almost 3/4 of a second to the good over Dennis Fusan, who's got almost a full second to the clear on Wayne Hutchinson, 17, who is 6 seconds to the good over the battle between Cameron Ingram, and while there was a battle, Cameron Ingram has gotten a 1.5 to the clear on Rob Gall. Ron Holyfield sitting in 7th. Charles Wood is in 8th. Julian Ricci, Carl Burke, and Javier Perez-Torres in that Buc-ee's paint scheme. And if you're ever in Texas, you owe it to yourself to stop at a Buc-ee's.
I have yet to visit a Buc-ee's. Of course, I have yet to visit the former Republic of Texas, but I've heard good things, and then I've heard that sometimes it's, I don't know. Oh, and listen, Dean the Fog Crawler says that he's waiting for an O. Henry sponsorship. How do you feel about the O. Henry bar? Now,
I've never really been a fan.
Now, are you a Seinfeld guy or not?
No.
Okay. Dean, if you're still watching, tell us in the YouTube live chat whether or not you're a Seinfeld fan, and then I'll use the reference. I don't want to use it out of school here. But, folks, if you are watching us on YouTube, this is the Esports Broadcasting Network. I'm Dave Regal alongside my good friend Tony Trapasso here in the broadcast booth. And right now you are watching lap number 60 of 120. And as they cross the start-finish line right here, we are at the halfway mark in the WSRL Round 14 at Nashville Superspeedway. So far tonight, Tony, definitely a lot of good racing here.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, this field a little bit strung out at times, but you can tell who has the fresh tires and who doesn't, as by being able to get the undercut. By being able to get the undercut on Bentley Glazer, Kyle McCartney has gotten by your points leader.
And it seems like the points leader, Bentley Glazer, I don't even know how I messed that one up. Bentley Glazer working his way here in 11th, but still chasing down Bob Beltrami, who has yet to come in. So maybe Beltrami sitting here thinking that Glazer can't make it on one stop, and Beltrami trying to squeeze out as much as he can from that Beltrami Salami Toyota. And sounds like right now the 07 is going to be coming down pit road of Keith Kalman, who's up 13 spots from where he started tonight, currently running in 11th place as he comes down pit road for his service.
Wayne Hutchinson, Keith Kalman, David Weaver, all bringing them pit side to get for Mr. Feelgoods and a fresh tank of Go Fast. I think you're right. From the looks of it, Beltrami and Fusan, and for that matter, Rob Gall as well, are probably going to try to stretch this tank of fuel out as far as they can. Hope it stays green and saves their time on pit road.
So
and that throws that strategy out the window.
Yep, there we go.
Ron Holyfield's 11 on the front stretch.
I'll tell you what, that probably didn't come in at a time that we wanted to see that here as we go back to Holyfield. Come on, iRacing. There we go. And we'll take a look here at Ron Holyfield here in the 11 car in the middle of your screen. We see him get down out of turn 4 and just completely gets it all kinds of cold tire wet down onto the grass. And here in the YouTube live chat, as we're under caution, looks like Dean the Fog Crawler, not a Seinfeld fan, so I won't even go there with the O. Henry bar, except that look that up. I think it's season probably 6 or 7 from Seinfeld. Anyway, basically, long story short, they do make a pretty big O. Henry reference, and that was my first introduction to the O. Henry bar.
And we have BB Gone checking in the live chat. Bucky's is a tourist trap.
But they do have large, clean comfort stations?
Mm-hmm.
You're the road warrior. What is a clean comfort station?
It's basically a place where you can sit down and relax after a long day behind the wheel of a tractor trailer.
Ah, gotcha. Well,
in other words, a leather recliner that vibrates with a large screen TV on the wall.
Oh, well, I mean, to be completely honest, if it was me, all I would need to do after driving a tractor trailer for, 14 hours, I wouldn't really need anything
11.
except 11 hours. I would just calmly lay my head down and call it a day.
Yeah, but there's always those times where you're in between loads and you're waiting for your next trailer to be ready, and you're at the truck stop, and you don't want to sit around in your truck all damn night.
So in Dean the Fog Crawler's honest opinion, the O. Henry bar is the best candy bar. What is your favorite candy bar, Tony?
I see. I've always been torn between the 100 Grand and the Butterfinger.
You know what? You're right up my alley there with Butterfinger. I'm a fan. I used to stop at Turkey Hill at least once every other day and get 2 Coca-Colas in a 20-ounce bottle and a Butterfinger. And, I mean, my teeth were probably ready to fall out of my mouth, but I didn't really much care.
Well, the reason for my affiliation with those is because, what the heck? Something's wrong with the 11. Yeah, that would be a connection problem. But my affiliation with those candy bars, my father used to work at the Nestle plant in Fulton, New York.
See, now I didn't know that they had a plant up there.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, up until its closing in 2004, it was the oldest continuous milk chocolate plant anywhere in North America.
Huh. That's interesting.
1903.
Folks, for more useless information, tune in to Tony Trapasso and I, as we both are pretty equally matched when it comes to wow. The 11 just gracefully got himself down onto pit road. My goodness.
You saw that?
I did. I'm watching it right now on the replay for everybody else here at home. Tony Trapasso and I, definitely masters of useless trivia. And if you like hanging out with us here in the Western States Racing League, you'll really like tuning in to the new Sim Racing Media podcast, The Money Stop, with Tony and Dave. The two of us get to sit down every week and discuss a new topic. This week, we have a really cool. The podcast should be dropping about Friday, as it did last week. But we have a really cool interview with James Clapper.
And we also have, it's Justin Clapper.
Justin Clapper.
And we broke some big news.
And tune into the podcast to get that news.
Yes, we did break something huge, and this is going to be a new avenue for the Sim Racing Media family. And I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm excited about this one.
And that's the thing. This particular event that we've now unleashed in the Sim Racing Media family is something I know that even Google searching, I've never found anybody that's going to do it just the way that we're going to do it here at SRM.
Absolutely.
Speaking of doing it just that way, Bob Beltrami in the number 14
Ooh.
Toyota. Sounds like things are getting stacked up here on the restart, but Beltrami taking off as he came down for pit road service on lap 64 under caution, gets himself one heck of a jump over Rob Gall with nearly a half-second lead.
McCartney's around.
McCartney's around. No caution yet, as
he's
McCartney
way down on the infield in the
he's
backstretch, so
definitely going to have to look back at that.
it looks like cold tires.
Which, of course, is the usual suspect when it comes to us. Yep, that's exactly what it was. That truck just got himself around. He did manage to avoid the blue cone at the exit of pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. And the scores in for that pirouette. 6.8, 6.8, 9.2, 1.3 from the Romanian judge.
See, it's always the Romanian judge that gets us. Every time.
Yeah, well, they like more carnage than that.
Well, I mean, yes. We're going to go there.
So get your hate mail coming now, folks.
What's that?
I say get your hate mail coming now.
And here we are right now taking a look at Wayne Fleet, who is up 15 spots from where he started here, running in 7th position right now. That number 6 Ford, all kinds of cranked up here, coming out of turn 4, getting ready to cross the start-finish line.
Leading the charge for the Canadian contingent tonight.
Absolutely, and Dennis Fusan now chasing down Bob Beltrami as things starting to heat up in the top 5 of this race. But Charles Woods here being chased down by the lapped truck of the 62 of Darrell Scott.
Well, that would make sense considering that there is a difference in the pit strategies between those two. So looks like Scott. That doesn't make any sense. Scott's got the older tires.
Scott has himself dropped all the way back to 21st now in that group of lap down cars. But right now here at the top, Bob Beltrami being challenged by Dennis Fusan, who is looking for any kind of advantage he can get right now on that Beltrami Salami Toyota Tundra.
Absolutely, and Bentley Glazer currently sitting in 5th. Apparently not having his own way of it now that he's got the dreaded aero push taking effect. As Beltrami and Fusan go side by side coming down through the tri-oval section. Beltrami on the high side, Fusan on the low side, and they've got Rob Gall right there going, yeah, go ahead, guys, just pick a lane. I'm gonna follow whoever through.
Yeah, at a track like this, I mean, it's not wide, it's not over wide, it's wide enough. You can easily follow the truck in front of you and kind of use that, where Beltrami is right now on the high side. As long as, and he gets right in between Rob Gall and Dennis Fusan and takes that run away from Rob Gall.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is one of the best runs we've seen out of Gall in a while. Currently up 6, sitting in the number 3 spot. So, still some moving and some shaking left to do here as we are getting ready to put lap 75 of 120 in the books. Again, these guys have 4 total sets of tires. So the set they started the race on, and they're laying 3 sets in the pits, as they call it, with 1 fast repair in their pocket. And I think so far everybody's only used the initial set and then one other set so far, except for Kyle McCartney and Brian
Absolutely.
Barnes.
And folks, we are going to step aside here on lap 76 and let you folks enjoy these messages from our proud sponsor at the Jones Racing Setup Shop and, of course, Sim Racing Media.
drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series. And we are back from the Nashville Superspeedway. Round number 14 of the Western States Racing League Season 46. Dennis Fusan has wrestled the lead away from Bob Beltrami, as about a truck length and a half separate those two. And you're another handful of truck lengths back to Bentley Glazer, who's got around Rob Gall for the final step of the podium. Go ahead, Dave.
And it looks like Bentley Glazer's still trying to chase back that spot that he previously held. But right now, Beltrami and Fusan, although that they're not side by side, it looks like Beltrami's just reaching back there for a stick of salami to start beating the bejesus out of the 19 car.
You've watched way too many gangster movies, my friend.
I'm just saying, if you're trying to use a non-lethal weapon to get past another truck, and you drive the Beltrami Salami Toyota Tundra, you're reaching out the window with a Beltrami Salami.
So you've seen the movie Boondock Saints 2?
I really haven't. I have not.
Yeah, okay. Because that was probably one of the greatest scenes ever in movie history.
I'm wondering if this is a good family movie.
No. Not something you want your son to be watching just yet.
He's watched Phillies baseball for most of his life now. If that's not going to give him scars, nothing will.
I'll show you the scene after we get off the air.
10-4.
As Andre Isavala and Julian Ricci going hammer and tongs at it right now for 13th. That is one of your closest battles on track right now, as Carl Burke is right there within striking distance as well.
And we see Julian Ricci here on the inside in the number 1 car, now getting, as far as iRacing timing and scoring is concerned, around Andre Isavala. But Savala not willing to be put to bed early tonight, as these two drivers going to be exchanging blows for what seems to be at least the next 30 laps or so, as we are on lap number 86 of 120 here at Nashville Superspeedway. Folks, this is ESPN, and if you're just tuning in here on YouTube.com. I'm Dave Regal alongside my partner, Tony Trapasso. Feel free to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you can get a heads up every time we are live on ESPN or Sim Racing Media over on Facebook. And, Tony, we always have quite a busy schedule.
Yes, we do. And luckily there's the whole holiday thing that, you know, this week we've got the holiday, so our weekend is a little more open than it normally is, but there's still a lot of leagues left to run this week.
Absolutely agreed. And, you know, here we are, the nightcap of a Tuesday night tripleheader. Tomorrow, actually, the Thunderclap Series is off tomorrow, as we previously discussed.
Yes.
However, the Way She Goes Racing League will drop the green flag at 9 p.m. Way She Goes in their first season as here in the Western States Racing League in season number 46. Then at 9:30 p.m. on a Wednesday is the Ghost Cup Series, followed by Thursday nights at 7 p.m. the USRA. Friday night is a triple header, but with the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series at 8:30 p.m. with the Wicked Sim Racing Series at 9 p.m. with the Kool-Aid Monster Energy Monster Cup Series at 9:30 on a Friday night. Saturdays are reserved for the one-off races. If you have a fundraiser or a recruitment race that you're trying to get broadcast, you can always ask us to get that scheduled in for you. But generally, Saturdays are just for one-time deals. Then Sunday usually is wall-to-wall racing. However, this week, because of Easter Sunday coming up, there will only be one race on the air, Tony. And can you guess what that is?
My guess would be Sunday Night NASCAR.
It is, and can you imagine?
Those guys are dedicated.
I was going to say, can you imagine that they were not willing to pass up a week or turn that into a drop week in that league? And can you imagine whose golden pipes will be at the microphone for that one?
Yeah, you and me.
Oh, you're going to come along for that?
Sure, why not?
Yes. Well, then it's the two of us here at the microphone Sunday night for the Davis Brothers Roofing Sunday Night NASCAR Series. And, of course, then we wrap the week up on a Monday with the CleanRacing.net Series, which is back. One of the leagues that I did want to talk about, Tony, is the Night Shift Racing League. Have you gotten a chance to take a peek at them?
I have watched it. Jason Soffer does an amazing job with that league, being as he's over on the other side of the big pond, and that's more afternoonish for him. But it probably the best idea ever, because I know when I was working third shift, it used to suck because I couldn't get any races in.
Absolutely, and then when you could get a race in, chances are it was when especially if it was a public race, there might not have even been enough people to make it official.
Exactly.
But the Night Shift Racing League, folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, is on a Tuesday at noon, which is kind of a weird time, I know, for most of us. But these are guys who work second and third shift who just needed a place to race and found it here on the ESPN and Sim Racing Media airwaves. And, we're glad to be able to accommodate these drivers who are there getting things done while everybody else is asleep.
Well, think about this, too. It's not just guys that are working second and third shift over here in the States. It's the guys over in Australia that, like, if you see an Australian driver in the servers right now, it's the morning for them currently. So that's an evening race for them. That's a nightcap race, go to bed, which is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, for those of us that are here on the East Coast, I mean, here right now it's 11:30. We're out there on the West Coast where these guys are is 8:30. I mean, folks, you have to understand that iRacing.com, the servers are worldwide. So we're always trying to accommodate people around the world, and it's interesting to be able to do that, from here on the East Coast, on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a noon Eastern time start for them. But it looks like we are getting ever closer to a round of green flag pit stops. The question is, who's coming down to get some service done?
Well, if I had to put my money on it, it looks like Julian Ricci last came down on lap 60 with Carl Burke on lap 59. But right now, the driver out there with the most laps on those tires is Andre E. Savala in the number 86 Chevrolet, running back here in 15th position, driving the number 86. And I got to be honest with you, it looks like he is trying to set himself up to be hanging on here at the end as green flag pit stops get ready to commence.
Yeah, absolutely. As Angelo Espo peels off to go pit side, Fred Williams is already in pit and has been for the last 42 minutes. Looks like he's getting an engine changed in the 95 there. And I was just taking a quick peek as here we go. Business is picking up for second. Bentley Glazer and Bob Beltrami door to door, and they got the lap truck of the 04 of Dustin Burns right in front of them.
And Dustin respectfully gets down and out of the way And I'll tell you what, at this point, it almost looked like Dustin was just cruising along there and looked in his rearview mirror and thought, oh, man, it's time to get out of the way, as that can happen, especially when you are laps down like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, he saw Fusan coming and went to the ultra-high side going through the corner, then down the back straightaway. It was safe for him to get to the low side to give Beltrami and Glazer the spot as Glazer drag race into turn number 3 with Beltrami side by side. Glazer just going to send it.
And Glazer definitely the driver that I would expect to be able to handle sending it. But my goodness, it looks like Beltrami wanted to do the crossover move here and swings to the inside of Bentley Glazer, getting ready to go into turn 2. It looks like Glazer's going to have the run going into 2, but Beltrami definitely going to have the better speed coming out of turn 2 onto the backstretch.
And just as you say that, Glazer does get a good run off of 2. It's going to pull a little bit of a gap on Beltrami to secure second spot. Now sets his sights on trying to reel in Dennis Fusan, who's a full second up the road.
21 laps to go, 20 to go when they pass the start-finish line here is Dennis Fusan leading the Western States Racing League round 14 here at Nashville Superspeedway. And don't let the word Superspeedway fool you, folks. This is an intermediate length track, and these drivers are out here battling left and right, as we have had a few more people come down for pit service here in the latter laps here. But right now, we're just kind of holding our breath, waiting for the rest of these leaders to come down, as I'm still betting that Julian Ricci going to be the first one here getting ready to roll.
I would say it's going to be Andre Savala. We already saw that Fusan and Beltrami could make it from where they did pit. Bentley Glazer was last down on 64. Rob Gall was last down on 64. Javier Perez Torres, Wayne Fleet, Kyle McCartney all down on 64. So I dare say that everybody's made their bed and they're going to lie in it unless we get a late race caution.
And that's one of the things that I do see happen less frequently here in the Western States Racing League, as these drivers very patient all race long. I mean, here we are with 18 laps to go, and usually you'd start to see the trucks nearly shake back and forth as they are working their way around turn 4 here for 17 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it goes back to something that we talk about every week, and that's the iRating of the entirety of this field. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up and do the quick math here. Strength of field tonight, 28-20.
I have to be honest, this isn't even sarcasm. That's a little low for a Western States Racing League.
That's the whole field.
Right.
Top 10 is 32.75.
Woo! Oh, that's definitely more the number that I was thinking of.
I mean, there's a couple of lower ranked drivers. There's a couple drivers that are actually in my wheelhouse as far as roughly where my iRating is as well. So you figure we had 32 show up tonight. But yeah, the top 10 it's up there. And you're going to get some of the best on the pavement side in oval racing show up here week in and week out. And if you want to test your skills, you can check them out at their website to get on board with everything that's going on. That's WSRLracing.com.
And I'll tell you what, these drivers have had their act together, for every race that I've been a part of since joining SRM and ESPN. And, it's no secret that it takes good leadership from, gentlemen like Bob Beltrami here driving the number 14 Toyota Tundra, to navigate and guide this league through 46 seasons, which, of course, they run twice a year, so 23 years together.
Yeah, they actually started back in the old Papyrus days, back before there was even an iRacing to be on. And the fact that they've been able to keep a core group together for as long as Bob's been able to keep them together for as long as he has. It's great to see these guys come out, and I guarantee you, the one name you're going to hear every driver mention in the post-race interview, except for maybe Bob himself, every driver that we've interviewed has thanked Bob Beltrami.
Absolutely. I mean, this man has gotten himself one heck of a league going. I mean, you and I have seen the leagues that come in and then they flame out. But maybe they're around for a full season, maybe a season and a half, and then things just start to fall apart. Where this guy has kept this league together for 23 years, and of course, Bentley Glazer, a younger driver himself, comes in here and he understands that even though he's now the 3-time reigning champion, I'm sure when he was new to this league, he knew that he had to get on Bob Beltrami's program or get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really something that these drivers really focus on. As I'm keeping an eye on Kyle McCartney, steady climbing back through the field as now he's working the 17 of Wayne Hutchinson for 7th place. It's a good recovery drive for that Snap-on Tools number 18.
Absolutely, and Kyle McCartney, one of the usual suspects that we see every week here, and as we're looking at him getting around the 04, it looks like McCartney going to be leading Wayne Hutchison as Wayne Hutchison gets the inside run on McCartney into turns 1 and 2, but McCartney getting a better exit off of 2 to try to put some distance between him. And I'm not sure if there are any thunderstorms or interference around, but there's a couple of drivers tonight, Tony, who are having some connection issues.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. And it's the guys that normally have it this time of night.
9 laps to go here at Nashville Superspeedway. Your race leader, Dennis Fusan, followed by Bentley Glazer, Bob Beltrami, Rob Gall, William Fletcher in the number 28 Ford, Javier Perez Torres in 6th position, Kyle McCartney working his way back up through the field in 7th place right now, followed by Wayne Hutchison, Wayne Fleet, and Cameron Ingram in the number 7 truck, rounding out your top 10. So things definitely have heated up as Bentley Glazer looks like he is putting Dennis Fusan in those crosshairs, Tony, and that's got to be a dangerous place if your name is Dennis Fusan.
Well, the biggest concern that Fusan's got to have is how hard he was racing Beltrami earlier. He might have used up more tire than he was really planning on using, as we're going to be 6 to go next time across the stripe, as Glazer is just stalking that Tito's Handmade Vodka, number 19 of Fusan. Excuse me. I don't know why I have the hiccups all of a sudden.
Do you want me to scare you?
No.
Okay. Well, while you get your hiccups under control, we'll take a look here in the YouTube live chat as these folks here in the YouTube live chat all night long keeping us entertained. Folks, give us a shout as we are here in the closing laps of round 14 at Nashville Superspeedway for the Western States Racing League, sponsored proudly by Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking. And, of course, we here at ESPN sponsored and partnered with the Jones Racing Setup Shop. So, folks, let us know who you're pulling for in the YouTube live chat. Subscribe to ESPN. Turn on those bell notifications, and you can get a notification every time we're on the air, as Tony and I definitely taking up some fresh air here on the ESPN waves, but having a blast doing it with you folks tonight, as we are now at 5 laps to go in this piece, as Dennis Fusan, your race leader, makes his way down the backstretch yet again. And everything nice and spread out, Tony.
Yeah, the field pretty much strung out. You got a couple pockets going on right now. Rob Gall, Javier Torres going at it. Will Fletcher's right there within striking distance as well. Actually, Will Fletcher in 4th as Gall and Torres trying to reel him in. And here comes Torres working all over the back bumper of the 31.
Absolutely, and that number 24 Chevrolet chasing down the Fujifilm 31. And right now it looks like they have themselves separated with just enough room that it can't be too uncomfortable sitting here in the cockpit, as we're going to look from the gyro cam of Javier Perez Torres up ahead at the number 31 car of Rob Gall.
Well, we've got a battle for the lead heating up too, with Bentley Glazer pulling to the outside of Dennis Fusan, going through 1 and 2. Glazer had to check up to stay off the wall. Fusan going to door down the back straightaway, drag race into turn number 3. Both of them trying to send it. Fusan on the low side, Glazer on the high side, as Popsicle sticks in the air this time. 2 laps to go from Nashville.
And right here at the front of this piece, we do still see Bentley Glazer and Dennis Fusan in that Tito's Handmade Vodka number 19 Chevrolet, chasing down the Gatorade Chevrolet with the number 87 emblazoned on the side of that machine. And it's almost like a tale of two trucks, as they're both Chevrolets, but one is, of course, Handmade Vodka and the other Gatorade. By the way, if they are mixed together, very delicious here, as
yes,
the man in the stand puts that white flag up in the air, gives it a wave, and we are on the final lap here at Nashville Superspeedway, Tony.
Glazer and Fusan, the only two that have a crack at it right now, as Bob Beltrami is 3 seconds to the arrears of this battle up in front. Glazer finally turning up the wick right now, as he's got a 3 truck length gap back to Fusan, working through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Flag in the air. Glazer comes off at turn number 4, drops it down to the apron. Your winner, Bentley Glazer. Dennis Fusan hanging on for second. Bob Beltrami crosses for third. Will Fletcher, Javier Torres, Rob Gall, Kyle McCartney, Wayne Hutchinson, Wayne Fleet, and Cameron Ingram rounding out your top 10.
What an incredible finish here, as Bentley Glazer had fought his way back up after dropping himself way back in the field from an earlier pit strategy decision. So, folks, we are going to step aside for just a short few moments here, and we will be right back with our post-race interviews here on ESPN.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight, is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Well, oh, they're wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series. And we are back from commercial break here at Nashville. And joining us now is the man who finished in third place, Mr. Bob Beltrami. And Bob, you sound pretty worn out, my friend.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Yes, it was quite a 120 lap show there. Dennis and I, with about, what was that? In that second half of the race, about 30 laps to go. You
Yeah.
wore me out. I'll tell you what, that was good stuff.
Yeah, no, you guys put on an amazing show as you do week in and week out. But you and Dennis had a pretty good gap there at one point. But safe to assume that you both used up your stuff a little too early.
Yeah, I thought about that while it was all going on. I saw Bentley back there just taking it easy and thought, this is probably pretty dumb, but we were having such a good time I couldn't help myself.
Well, that's what it's all about, like-minded people enjoying, doing like-minded things in the simulator. So, but Bob, again, another great race throughout the entirety of the field. Now, are we off next week or no?
Yes, we are taking a spring break next Tuesday, so we're going to find some non-points track and do a short little quick race or something like that. But then we're back to points racing the week after.
On the 26th of April, we will come back with Michigan, 80 laps there. Your thoughts going into the house that Penske built?
Boy, that's one of those places with these trucks where it really becomes an anybody can win kind of a deal. It's not quite like Talladega and Daytona, but the competition widens out dramatically. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The big question is going to be cautions, kind of like tonight. I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if we hadn't had that second caution. That would have been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dave and I were just talking about, what the game plan was going to be, because you and Dennis had both made it just past halfway when you guys decided to got into the zone of where you could start to bring it down pit road. If that caution hadn't come out, were you planning on making it a one-stop race?
My intent was to come in on the next lap or the lap after the one we were on when the caution came out. So my hope was to make it all the way to the end from there, knowing that Bentley had to pit again and hoping that that was going to be enough to keep us separated, and off we'd go, and it'd be kind of a two-horse race. But we'll have to wait for another time to see if we can make that happen.
All right, Bob, before we let you go, who do you need to thank for tonight?
Oh boy. I just want to thank all the guys who come out week after week and race regularly with the WSRL. It's a great group of guys. They keep it clean and it's a lot of fun, and I think everybody enjoys it. So my hat's off to everybody.
All right, Bob Beltrami, again, congratulations on a podium, and we will see you in 2 weeks from Michigan.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
So that was our third place finisher, and Dave, I believe you've got second place with you now.
Absolutely. Dennis Fusan, driver of the number 19 Tito's Handmade Vodka Chevrolet. Dennis, listen, hard-fought battle here at the end as Bentley still manages to chase you down like you owed him some kind of lunch money. How does that feel? I can only imagine that that's very frustrating for so late in the race to wind up second on the podium.
Well, I'm not too dissatisfied. I wait for Bentley to make his move for quite a few laps. Anytime you can finish anywhere in the top 5 or 10 guys, that's a good finish.
I mean, it was definitely a good finish for you there in the in that Chevrolet. I mean, all night long you were battling, and I mean, we were just talking to Bob Beltrami about pit strategy. Until that last caution came out, were you thinking about trying to just make it a or a one-stop race?
Yep, that was my plan.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those late cautions can absolutely throw a wrench into things, but hey, still second there on the podium tonight, as looks like you're definitely going to be moving up some in those season standings, getting ready to move yourself there into that upper echelon. So, what are you thinking as we move forward now? Next week is a non-points race, but the following we go to Michigan. How do you feel about Michigan?
I like Michigan. I just hope I have luck and skill.
Yeah, it's definitely all about the luck and skill at Michigan. And I mean, fortunately, you folks are fixed setups, so it comes a lot with that skill. And I mean, look, when you can hold your own with Bentley Glazer, here at Nashville Superspeedway, you can pretty much carry yourself just about anywhere.
100% agree.
So, before we cut you loose here, who do you need to thank for helping you get through this second place finish here?
Well, first I want to shout out to my mom. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mama Fusan.
And I'd like to thank my wife for letting me do this, Bob, and everybody who put this on, you guys in the booth, and of course my sponsor, Tito's Handmade Vodka, which I'm thinking about having one now.
L'chaim, make sure that you enjoy that Tito's Handmade Vodka, sir.
Oh, I will.
All right, Dennis, we'll get you out of here. We'll get you out of here. And Tony, I believe that you do have our race winner, Bentley Glazer, yes?
Yes, absolutely. Seventh pole on the season, fifth win in it in the season, defending series champion. Bentley, does it ever get boring for you?
Oh no, it's always a challenge.
Absolutely. And Dennis Fusan was giving you one heck of a challenge there in the closing laps of this one.
Oh, definitely. I was starting to think I wasn't going to be able to get it done there. That caution really, I didn't think I was going to recover from that because Kyle was really fast and it was going to be really hard to pass him, and it just so happened he got loose there off on cold tires, so it all worked out. And then Dennis was running a great race, and I couldn't really figure out a way to get by him. And then I just remembered to back up the corners at the end. I was able to get a good run. And then I thought I was going to have to be on the inside to pass him, but when I was trying to pass Bob, I realized the high line's pretty good for, pinning someone down.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that restart on lap 66, you were really pushing the envelope there, taking it 3 wide going into turn 1.
Yeah, I saw Bob go, and everybody kind of hesitated, so I got on it, and then so I was gonna try to make the outside work, and then it was just I was gonna get a black flag if I continued on, so I had to check up, and then I, dove in under Kyle, and that's when he got loose. So yeah, I tried saving my tires a lot there when Bob and Dennis were battling, so that helped, and then I was overdriving because that's how I got away from Kyle in the first long run, and then just calmed down and was able to get a run right at the end.
All right, Bentley. Now the series is going to be a non-points race next week, which we're not going to broadcast. So the next broadcast that we have with you guys is going to be Michigan in 2 weeks. Your thought going into the Irish Hills of Michigan?
It'll be fun. Michigan's always fun, and I know Carl Burke and Paul and just tons of people are really good at Michigan, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, and you could say you're one of them too, because you won at Michigan last year, my friend.
Oh yeah, that's just a fun race. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, Bentley. Before we let you go celebrate your 5th win on the season, who do you need to thank for tonight?
You guys broadcasting as always, and then always my teammates at OGR, and then Bob for putting on Western States Racing League.
All right, Bentley. Congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple weeks at Michigan.
All right, thank you.
So, Dave, we got another one in the books.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you what, here at Nashville Superspeedway, it was incredible from start to finish. I mean, these drivers week in and week out never cease to surprise me in their ability to get up here and show us how to get it done each and every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a clinic of what you should expect on track in a league race. There's not a lot of dive bombing going on. There's not a lot of bump and runs going on. Everybody plays nice until it's not time to play nice, and then they race hard. And that's the one thing that's the biggest takeaway from this league is how to race hard but race cleanly.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, so many times in so many different other leagues that I know that you and I have been a part of in one way or another. You know, you get guys who lose their patience and start trying to drive through other drivers. But this league, everybody keeps themselves adhered to a very high standard of racing. So and of course the highest of that standard right now seems like Bentley Glazer here, who sits atop the pile in the number 87 Gatorade Chevrolet, followed by Dennis Fusan in second, Bob Beltrami in third. That is your podium: Glazer, Fusan, and Beltrami. William Fletcher in fourth place in the number 28 Ford. Javier Perez Torres finishes fifth. Rob Gall, Kyle McCartney, Wayne Hutchison, Wayne Fleet, and Cameron Ingram round out your top 10 with Julian Ritchie, Richard McClure, and Charles Woods in 13th, driving the number 40 United States Postal Service Chevrolet, finishing 13th, with Carl Burke and David Weaver rounding out your top 15, Tony.
They're also rounding out your lead lap cars as Jeff Hollingsworth, just tonight, he'd soon forget, coming home in 16th, one lap down. Brian Barnes, Andre Savala, Keith Kelman, and Barry Phil, your top 20. Paul Crumry, Daryl Scott, Scott Kukas, Dustin Burns, and Angelo Espo rounding out your top 25. James Campbell, Ron Hollyfield, Fred Williams, and Eric Woods, the last trucks to actually take the green. So 29 trucks started, and about 25 of them finished.
And it's been quite a night here in the Western States Racing League, Tony. As you've mentioned earlier on here in the broadcast, we are off next Monday night next Tuesday night, I'm sorry, as they will take next Tuesday off and run a non-points race. They haven't even decided where they're going yet. But then, of course, we will return the following Tuesday to go to Michigan. What are you looking for at Michigan?
Same thing we see every time we go to Michigan. Multi-groove racing, a lot of three-wide action going on most of the night. And you're going to see guys taking different lines through the corners. There is no one fast way around Michigan. There's a lot of ways to get around that place very quickly, and we saw it last season. We're going to see it again in 2 weeks.
I absolutely agree. And, as we get ready to hang up the headsets for the night, my one takeaway that just seems like I feel like a broken record, but I feel like it stands to be said, that this Western States Racing League has proven time in and time again that they belong here, in season 46. So something always exciting going on in the Western States Racing League. And Tony, I think it's time we hang it up for the night.
Sounds like a grand idea. So for Mr. David Regal, this is Tony Trapasso reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you enjoy the Easter holiday and you walk down the road of life, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.